Jeremy's Midnight Media Show with your host Jeremy. On today's show we have JTM Productions. Great, so our first question today is what kind of media institution might buy your media product and why? Good question, Jeremy. Tell me.
Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, well, one thing to note immediately is that what our audience might think is that they'd be seeing our music video on, say, 4Music or Viva. But the interesting thing to note is they only tend to show things that are in the charts, that are very current, and, you know, they parallel popular culture. Now, while ours does this, it does it of a time. For example, we discussed earlier that our music video focuses on the mindset and the ideas of a generation, which we managed to narrow down to the late 70s, early 80s. Now, we were talking about how we would get the video onto these channels, and the way we decided it was going to happen was either if this re-release song got into the charts, so if, I guess that's why they call it The Blues, got into the charts, we probably would see it in the top 40 on 4Music or on Viva. But, you know, I'd say there's a 50-50 chance of that happening. So another way of it happening would be, you often notice these media, these channels do a top 100 countdown, you know, top 100 Christmas songs, top 100 R&B songs. So say it was, you know, top 100 love songs or songs of the 80s, or sometimes they even have these celebrity guests on the channel, you know, sat in a chair saying, this is my top 100 favourite songs. So if we had Elton John on one of these channels, he probably would name this as one of his favourite songs, and that's a way we would have it on one of these media, you know, channels.
And tell me, who would be your audience for your media product? Good question, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Well, our music video, we're using the song by Elton John, so obviously that narrows down the audience a bit. We're aiming for probably middle-aged and above, people from 70s, 80s and stuff like that. The video itself features a lot of famous icons who maybe people of our generation might not realise who they are. As well, the story, like of the music video, is quite a long narrative, whereas music videos today tend to go for more like live performances as such.
Or half-naked girls dancing on camera.
You know, it's not something that we could see our age group. It would be popular.
Be more the parents of our age group.
How did your group address and attract your audience? The basic way that we addressed our audience was using famous icons of the audience's time, such as Elton John, Elvis,
Ozzy
Osbourne, John Lennon.
One of the main things is we've actually been criticised for only targeting a small audience. You know, we're trying to cater for a niche audience, and those are people who grew up or were around in the 70s and 80s, who know this music and will appreciate the references. Now, our response to the criticism is that modern music today, you know, Jessie J, Girls Aloud, whoever, they only cater to young.
What have you learned about the technologies during the process?
That's a good question, actually, Jamie. I think Jamie has the most experience in this.
Yeah, completely. We've learned loads with using all the technologies through the process. The main one, which was the new one, was the new camera. We found the good points of it is it's a lot smaller than the one last year, so it was compact, easy to carry around with us. But on the bad side, it was because it was smaller. It picked up our shakes and very sudden movements a lot. It amplified them a lot more. So it was harder to edit them out, and physically harder to film. Another problem we found was that the battery life was it wasn't very good at all.
Not at all.
So we had to have a couple of backup batteries charged up and kind of constantly on a cycle of charging them up through the process. Otherwise, we could only film for a couple of hours at a time. YouTube is another technology that I've learnt about a bit more this time. The kind of the longest section of YouTube is when you upload them, and it can take sort of 2 or 3 hours. So often we'll be editing sort of in the evening time, and then so it'll be ready for the morning. You leave it uploading overnight so that by the morning it's ready. So yeah, lots to learn.
Yeah.
School system as well.
Yes.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
school system isn't quite as compatible
Yeah.
with our home computers or laptops as would be ideal.
I know,
so
yeah. It's also not quite as robust as we'd like it when we're doing classwork. I mean, I think we often found we'd be blogging and doing a lot of work, and then
a week it would just the
crash.
page would refresh.
Yeah.
And we'd lose our work.
we'd lose all of our work. So
we
that,
upload videos and then you click save and it wouldn't save it.
that taught us the real value of saving.
And tell me, in what way does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products?
Good question, Jeremy. Actually, that's a good point. I'll field this one. One of the ways we use the normal conventions of media products, such as music videos, is we use the template of a music video. So it's the idea of the ideas discussed in the song put into visuals. So I guess that's why they call it the blues. We had Elton in a situation where he's got the blues, he's a bit of a down and out. We used the convention of a narrative to tell the story. But we tried to develop this in the sense that we made the narrative very, very strong, very episodic. It's all got strong continuity. And another thing as well that I like to think we did was we didn't treat the audience as if they were perhaps
Secondary to...
Yeah, secondary, ill-informed. We definitely address them as if to say, we know you know these characters, have a look at this, rather than, you're stupid, you don't know what's going on, so we'll explain it to you. The whole thing with our video is we rely on the audience's knowledge. We need them to watch it and go, oh, there's Ozzy Osbourne, there's John Lennon. There needs to be a strong bond between us and our audience.
That's definitely a reason how we challenge
The conventions, yeah.
As like today, the only direct address you get in music videos is often when it's done from a live footage, when somebody might turn to a camera and wink at them, instead of a full-on definite direct address to the audience.
Because that is a way we've challenged the conventions, because most music videos are very short, bit of visual razzle-dazzle, as it were, whereas ours is, we're trying to communicate a definite message to the audience.
Yeah, it's very